Hello, everybody. This is Norman Lockshin. We're going to be covering the years from 1970 to 1981. We're now at our house in Youngstown, Ohio. This is my in-laws on the left, Fred and Ethel Nathanson. My father, Larry Levy. This is Alan Keller and Gert Epstein Keller. This is Gail Epstein in the center and Linda on the right. That's Gail's boyfriend on the left, next to Gail and Bruce Epstein. My uncle Dave Schwartz and Penny Spencer and Esther Schwartz. This is Sheila, pregnant with Arlen. Again, Alan, Penny, Uncle Dave, and Essie. It's Linda Schwartz, my grandmother Rose Schwartz, and Aunt Essie again. This is my niece Lisa Levy. That's Aunt Peggy and Marilyn to our back. This is Stephen sitting on Uncle Leonard. Leonard Kurlander was a good friend of my parents and his wife Belle. He was always a lot of fun. This is Belle Kurlander. My father Morris Lockshin. And Stephen. And again, Leonard Kurlander. Sheila, my mother, Belle Kurlander. We're now in Cleveland, and that's Leslie Rivets. And Arlen, Stephen, Sheila. And we're living now at Echelon in Voorhees Township, New Jersey. I was commuting into Philadelphia across the Walt Whitman Bridge every while I was a resident at the University of Pennsylvania. Again, Arlen. And Stephen. Echelon was a mall in Voorhees Township that recently built these new rental condominiums that we moved into. The first year we were in South Jersey, we lived in Cherry Hill in a rented house. And we were happy to move to these new townhouses after the second year. This is still at Echelon. It had swings and sandboxes, a lot of things that kids could play on. And there were a lot of young neighbors around also. Again, Stephen. Echelon also had an indoor and outdoor swimming pool. And Arlen. And one of Stephen's friends who lived in the complex. And here we are, we're in Cleveland, and we're at Laura Mae and Ronnie's house. That's Joni, Leslie in the pink, Amy, or Kathy Simkoff, Stephen, Sheila, Arlen, Paul Simkoff right there with his turning around, Laura Mae Simkoff in the yellow skirt, and this is Amy Simkoff, Joni, and Marcy Simkoff. They had us over for a Hanukkah party, which is very nice. Arlen's not too happy at that point. It's Joni on the left with Leslie. Joni Rivets, Sheila's sister, Paul Simkoff again. And that's Marcy Simkoff with her sister Kathy and Amy and Aunt Jeanette. Again, Leslie and Arlen. We're back. This is Leslie on the left and Arlen again. This is in my in-laws' driveway in Shaker Heights, Ohio. We're back in New Jersey now. This is 1972, and we were invited for Passover Seder at one of my fellow residents' home, David and Janet Paslin, who lived across the river in Philadelphia. That's David Paslin sitting down. That's Arlen, Sheila, Paslin's dog, Stephen, David Paslin was from the West Coast. After he finished his residency, he set up practice in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that's me holding Stephen and Arlen. This is Arlen at age 2. And that's my father with Arlen. And with Stephen's 6 at that time. And that's my mother with Arlen and Stephen. There's my parents, Dorothy and Morris Lockshin, and Sheila with Arlen. Stephen and Arlen. And this is Arlen, Stephen, myself, and Sheila for Arlen's 2nd birthday. And with my parents. Hi there. That's my mother again with Arlen. And my dad with Arlen and Stephen. There, we finally got him to smile. We lived about an hour away from the shore, the Jersey Shore, Atlantic City, Margate, and we would often make the ride down there for the day to have a day at the beach. This is Stephen paying a lot of attention to the keep off sign on the big rock. Arlen's very brave about going into the water. No hesitancy. Stephen's moving out in the water and enjoying the waves. That's Arlen and me taking a walk along the beach. That's Stephen still in the water. That's Arlen holding on tight for dear life there. And Arlen just getting her sea legs. Arlen, Stephen, and Stephen's friend Richie Behrens. Richie was our neighbor in New Orleans and came to New Jersey for a couple of summers to spend some time with us. We're back in New Jersey and we have visitors. That's Arlen Groban. They were living in the Washington, D.C. area, dancing with Stephen. And that's Mark Groban with Arlen. That's Arlen Groban. And that's Arlen Lockshin and Stephen Lockshin. We got together with the Grobans several times over the year. That's Lynn Groban. And we visited them in Washington a few times. And after I finished with my residency in Philadelphia, I moved to Rockville. This is the famous Nathanson's pink bathroom. This is Wildwood Crest, New Jersey, where the Grobans came down to spend some time with us. It looks like Stephen got a nice sized clam. And that's Sheila with Arlen. and Mark and Lynn Groban and Arlen Groban. We're back in Cleveland again. That's Mickey Margolis and Nancy, Sheila's sister. Rick, Joni, and Leslie. Fred Nathanson, Arlen. Not happy there. That's Rick and Mark Rivets. Again, Mickey Margolis, Nancy, Ethel Nathanson, Fred Nathanson, Joni, Mark Rivets, Stephen, another birthday. It's Rick and Leslie, Sheila, and Nancy putting the cake down. This is Uncle Bill Nye, Laura May in the blue shirt. This is Uncle Elliot Glicksberg, Aunt Natalie, married to Uncle Bill, Rick, Mark, Aunt Evelyn, married to Uncle Elliot. Paul Simkoff, Leslie, Arlen, Sheila, her sister Nancy, no, that's Mark Rivets. This is Uncle Arnold Palmer, married to Aunt Jeannie, Ethel's sister. That's Ethel. It's again Bill Nye. It's Lynn Palmer, Ethel Nathanson, Natalie. My in-laws, the Nathansons. That's Aunt Jeanette with the blonde hair, Nancy with Uncle Arnold Palmer, Sheila. We're back in Shaker Heights at my in-laws' house. That's Rick Rivets, Joan Rivets, and they're holding Mark. That's Arlen and Sheila, Fred Nathanson, my mother Dorothy Lockshin, Morris Lockshin, Ethel Nathanson, Aunt Jeanette, Freddie's sister, Joni with Mark Rivets and Leslie next to her. That's my parents with Stephen and Arlen. And the Nathansons with Arlen and Sheila. Aunt Jeanette, my mother, back of Rick's head. This is my cousin Alan Spencer with his son Bennett. And that's Arlen, Stephen, Bennett, and Alan, and Sheila. We're now at my in-laws' house in Shaker Heights. That's Larry Levy on the left, Stephen, this is Lisa, again Stephen, Samantha Levy, that's my sister Marilyn, that's my dad, again Larry with Samantha and Lisa, that's Sheila coming out the door, and that's my mother coming out next, and my mother-in-law Ethel Nathanson coming out. This is Lisa again with Samantha. We're now at the Jersey Shore again. That's myself, Stephen, and Arlen. And I'm talking to somebody, I don't know who it is, just some random person on the beach. And that's Mark Groban in the red swimsuit. That's Arlen walking around. And Stephen with another big clam. And Stephen and Arlen again. And that's Mark Groban on the left and me on the right with Stephen between us. And this is Stephen rafting into the surf. Sheila's parents also came down to visit us at the shore. And I believe we're at Margate again with Arlen, Sheila, Ethel Nathanson, Stephen over here. Fred Nathanson, Sheila's father. And Arlen. And Stephen and Arlen sharing their ice cream and ice. Also sharing with me. While living in the Philadelphia area, we took a trip into Washington, D.C. to see some of the famous sites. Here we are coming out of the front entrance of the White House, which is no longer, you're able to do that. That's Sheila and Stephen in Arlen. And we also drove down to Mount Vernon, which is about a half-hour drive from the White House. Mount Vernon is located outside of Alexandria, Virginia, a little bit past it, and sits right on the Potomac River where it is wide and a very beautiful view from the back of Mount Vernon overlooking the Potomac. And here's Sheila and Arlen. That's probably Stephen walking ahead. This is the back entrance of Mount Vernon overlooking the Potomac. It takes at least an hour to just superficially go over all the grounds and inside of some of the buildings at Mount Vernon. Again, Stephen. So the remains of George Washington are here in this burial site. Since we were living right across the river from Center City, Philadelphia, we toured many of the sites in Philadelphia. This is Carpenter's Hall. The building was completed in 1775, and the First Continental Congress met here. We are still living in Voorhees Township, New Jersey. This is Arlen's 4th birthday party with a lot of her friends. After moving to Rockville, Maryland, this is one of many Seders that we had with the Grobens. That's Arlen Groban, Mark Groban, Stephen, Arlen, Lynn Groban, again Lynn and her daughter Arlen Groban, Sheila, that's me, and Stephen. Over the many years that we've been living here, we've had many Seders with the Grobens. We were a very small group at that time. Over the years, both families have grown immensely and have grandchildren, and we had a split up over the past few years, so each family went on to have their own Seders, but for many years we shared Seders with the Grobens. We moved to Rockville, Maryland in 1974. This is Ben, born February 7th, 1975, born in Washington, D.C. And this is his big sister, Arlen. And Sheila. And Stephen. Little did they know there would be number 4 coming a few years later. We had a baby nurse for a very short time, but we had to let her go because she liked her own bottle better than the baby's bottle. This is my father-in-law and Sheila bathing Ben. We needed 2 people and a photographer to help bathe them. That's my mother-in-law, who does not like to be photographed. And he looks nice and clean and happy at this time. Again, my in-laws with Ben and Stephen and Arlen. We're getting together in Youngstown. This is Linda Schwartz, Essie Schwartz, my mother, Sheila, Arland, Bruce Waldman, Dave Schwartz, Mary Lockshin, married to Uncle Nate. Again, Aunt Essie, Linda Schwartz, Uncle Albert Lockshin, Jerry Lockshin, cousin, Bruce, Gert Keller, Alan Keller, married to Gert, Essie Schwartz again. My father, Morris Lockshin. Stephen. Lighting the candles for his 10th birthday. That's Sheila with Ben and my father. Again, Lillian Schwartz and the gray hair. Peg Wiley. That's Mark Katz, Uncle Albert's son-in-law. That's my Uncle Albert, Uncle Dave, Sheila. This is Aunt Mary Nate from Canton, Ohio. This is Aunt Gert, Aunt Peg, my cousin Jim standing up in the dark shirt. Stephen, Arlen, Mark Katz again. Friend of my mother's, Rose Mark. Again, Lillian Schwartz, Mary Lockshin, Jerry Lockshin. Uncle Albert, Jim Lockshin again. This is Bob Wiley with his wife Eileen. Peg Wiley, Fred Wiley, Dave Schwartz, my mother. This is Bobby and Eileen's young son, I believe, Billy. With Stephen and Arlen. Uncle Albert. We're in Ocean City, Maryland, 1975. And that's Arlen and Stephen on the raft. And this is the Sheraton Hotel where we stayed at that time. Sheila. In the crib is Ben, who's 5 or 6 months old at this time. And Arlen again. Ben back in the cage again. And Sheila. And Arlen. And Ben. Here we are back home in Rockville again, and that's Ben. and Arlen. And Arlen teasing Ben a little bit by moving the hat away from him. And with Stephen. We're gathered together in Rockville, Thanksgiving time, 1975. It's Mickey Margolis, Arlen, Nancy, Sheila, Stephen, my mother-in-law feeding Ben, that's me, Sheila, and this is Nancy feeding Ben. Here we're gathered together for Ben's first birthday. Arlen doing a great job combing his hair, looking very nice for his party. And Ben seems to be enjoying his hair combing. And Stephen's presenting his cake to him and helping him blow out the candle. And Arlen wants to taste the icing to make sure it's good. And Ben agrees it is. And there they are, the three of them at that time. Now it's about time to go back to Cleveland and have Ben get his first haircut in Mr. Bodner's shop, where Stephen got his haircut, and my father-in-law went for his haircut for many years. It appears that Ben did not enjoy the haircut very much. But he definitely needed it. We're back in Youngstown. That's Uncle Dave Schwartz. Sheila. Aunt Peg Wiley. Aunt Essie. My mother. And my father with Arlen. We're gathered together for Arlen's birthday party in Rockville, Maryland. That's Arlen Groban on the right, and Leslie, cousin Leslie, with the white shirt. Stephen on the left, Arlen with the L. They're having races back and forth, and Stephen looks like he won that race. Again, Sheila Lockshin, Arlen Groban in the front, and Leslie Rivets. That's Mark Rivets. That's Rick Rivets, my father-in-law Fred Nathanson, Joni Rivets, Stephen, and again Fred and Ethel. And Rick. This is Arlen and Stephen. Arlen is 5 and Stephen is 9. This is Arlen's 6th birthday party. With a lot of her friends, neighbors. It was down in our basement. And that's Ben. And Stephen. And the birthday girl. Here we are in front of our house in Rockville. It's Ben with Arlen. This has been about the same age in the house with Arlen, and this is Penny Spencer, married to Alan. And that's Ben with his giggy. He carried that blanket every place. Bennett Spencer, Alan Spencer, Arlen, and Stephen. And this is Ben's second birthday, along with Arlen. And Stephen is preparing the candles on the birthday cake. And we're all singing happy birthday. We're back in Cleveland. This is Uncle Bill Nye with her daughter Rita and Stuart and Aunt Natalie, Stuart's mother. I'm not sure whether this is an anniversary it's being celebrated. We've got Uncle Bill Nye, Uncle Elliot Glicksberg, Aunt Natalie, that's Sheila in the back. Sitting next to Cindy, Rick Rivets, Uncle Arnold and Cindy Lifson. We're still in Cleveland. This is Lomond School, where we went sledding with the kids. Stephen's about 10 right here. And that's Arlen. And I believe that's me with Arland. And Arlen on her own. This is Leslie Rivets, Mark Rivets, Rick Rivets, Arlen and Leslie, and Rick and Mark. This is Arlen's 8th birthday, with Stephen helping out. That's Cindy Lifson with Ben. This is Ben's 3rd birthday. That's Nicola Rada, I believe. That may be Karen Exelbert. It's Sheila, Ben. Sheila with Ben's birthday cake. And it looks like it's Ring Around the Rosie time. And Stephen helping out. We're now in Bethany Beach, Delaware. We rented a place at Sea Colony. That's Ben. That's Av Fanaroff, friend of Joni and Rick's. That's Arlen. That's Av and Ben. And Arlen in the back, and Joni, and Mark Rivets. That's Joni and Ben. And Sheila. That's Av's mother, Mrs. Fanaroff. And Ben. That's me playing ball with Ben. And that's Sheila, Joni with the kids, Stephen standing up there. In the back, that's Wendy Dinner and Melvin Dinner, friends of Av and Joni and Rick. And and that's Rick Rivets, Sheila, me, Ben, again Melvin Dinner, and me. And and Ben. That's Stephen. Again, this is Sea Colony at Bethany. And Joni, and Leslie, and Arlen, and Mark Rivets. That's Arlen swimming. Pretty good swimmer. And Arlen. That's Joni. Pretty rough surf. Ben. Sheila. Say hi. And Joni. That's me. And Ben. We're going to dig a hole in the sand. That's Rick and Mark Rivets. And that's Stephen on the raft. Stephen and Ben. And Arlen. We're back in Rockville. My father is helping Ben do some planting in the backyard. We're now down in Camp Seagull and Seafarer in Arapahoe, North Carolina. That's Mark Rivets, Joni. For many summers, our kids spent 5 and then 4 weeks at either Camp Seagull for boys or Seafarer for girls. And that's Ben and Leslie. And that's Joni and Rick and Mark. And Sheila and Stephen. It was a wonderful place for the kids to learn all about boating and water sports and land sports and water skiing. Again, Joni and Mark and Leslie. This is the carts they used to be transported on, and they're stopping at this Texaco station called Duval's, and that was a place to stop to get a drink on a hot day. So it's Mark and Leslie, Joni, and Sheila, and Joni, and Rick and Mark. Again, Mark. So they'd get towed around on these this transport. Seagull had one, and also Seafarer. This is Mr. Taylor, who ran the camp, the boys' camp. His wife ran the girls' camp. And again, that's Joni with Mr. Taylor. Sheila and Joni and Leslie and Mark and Rick and Ben. And again, Mr. Taylor with Sheila. And Joni. We're now down in Florida visiting my parents at Winmore in Coconut Creek. This is their apartment building where they lived in. And this is Ben in the pool. And Arlen. That's Sheila. and my mother with Ben. And Sheila and Arlen. And Stephen, taking in the sun. That's Sheila. That's my mother and some of her friends. And Stephen and Ben, now trying to get warm. And Ben, it's my father and Arlen. And Ben and my father again. And Stephen and Ben and Sheila. This is Ben's 5th birthday, and he had all his friends here, and even a ventriloquist. That's the birthday boy. This is fall 1981. This is Arlen with Alexis in the stroller, her friend Claire. And this is Sheila. We're in the historic town of Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, about 45 minutes from our house. And again, Alexis is just a couple months old at this time. Harpers Ferry is a beautiful historic town located on the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers, and where the states of Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia come together. This is Ben with Claire Namani, who lived in the neighborhood. Again, Alexis just a few months old here. And this is in front of our house. Thanks for watching. There's more to come. I hope you enjoyed it.